Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Top of
Top
the
of the
morning,
morning.
people.
Top of the morning.
Yes, we are back once again with the Heyward CPA podcast, also known as Heyward CPA Live, in the building. I don't know what happened to you. You
Yo,
did.
because you bumped me off the screen already.
I ain't even touch it. I ain't touch a button.
Mhm.
So it just kind of went like that. I don't know what's going on already. So it's been a funny week with tech. If you've been around, I know it's been funny, man.
Yeah.
I was speaking with somebody. I said, yeah, I said, yo, cats are playing with the internet in the United States just to
Yeah.
show us, just to let us know they could touch us.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was just let you know it's real.
For
So,
sure. For sure.
you know, but yeah, we're back again. Well, you're back because you weren't here last time.
No, I wasn't. I was at a team building event that for the chamber,
Yes.
for the Durham Black Chamber of Commerce
All right.
team event, building camaraderie, playing some games,
Mm.
you know.
Well, how did it go?
Oh, it went well. It went excellent, man. It was good fun, man. We had some games and we did some. We had a young lady there. Actually, we're gonna invite her to the show, Gabrielle, and she has her business is dance, right? So she combines the emotions of the body
Mm.
through dance, and you express it through physical action.
Okay.
Um,
All right. That's interesting. So was y'all were dancing or something like that?
necessarily dancing, we would call out we would think of an emotion, and then we'll do an act, right? So some people did like sunshine and strength, but physical stuff, right? And then
Yeah.
we all mimicked it individually, and then we combined it together at the end for a complete dance, if you want to call it a dance, right?
Yeah, he was dancing.
Yeah, dancing.
Dancing, son. You know what I'm saying?
Dancing, 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 dun, dun,
Dancing machine, yo.
dancing machine, oh baby.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
but no, it was good though. It was good fun though.
yeah. All
Um,
right. That's so.
hey, so hold up before you jump in real quick,
Oh, I
right?
was about to ask you a question about the event, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can. I just on the technical side, we got somebody in the waiting room. Do you see him?
I do not.
Okay,
Let me see. Maybe you could bring them in. You
I'm
might
gonna,
be able to bring them in.
I'm gonna try this one right here. But go ahead, ask your question now.
I was going to ask from so coming off of that type of event, in your opinion, what's the next step? What happens next?
Oh well, we continue to build on that, right?
Okay.
Because team building is really about the basis of everything is the relationship, right?
Okay.
Improving the relationship, expanding on the relationship, seeing how collaboration works in relationships. There's a word that gets spun out there, but very kind of just fickle with it because it's
Oh, there you go. There.
leadership, right? So, but leadership is not just about a word. It's about leadership is an action. It's a thing. It's not a title. It's a presence, right? And so, with continuous improvement and understanding and learning, how do you lead? How do you influence? Right? How do you um, engage? So, being a part of our board is a voluntary action. So one of the components is involuntary actions. We're so used to as a society that we'll do a job based off of pay.
Mm.
Right? We'll engage based off of pay. We'll engage based off of our position or disposition or belief.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Up until a point. but how do you continuously move forward and carry it forward in a non-payment aspect? How do you stay motivated? How do you be motivated? If you're community-based and focused, how do you continuously do that? You know, how do you identify your passion and your purpose? So the goal is just to keep having these team building events that bring us all together so we can be comfortable with each other, learn how to lean on each other and engage, because no man is an island. It's a community thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. And there's a lot of different purposes in the world that are out there. So no matter what community you align with, as long as you align with it comfortably and it aligns with your purpose, and that you feel you can be effective in any capacity, right? Without letting titles and certain things lead the way. Because I think people would underlook people, underserved situations get highly overlooked.
Yeah.
They say the best creators and innovators, they're laying in the cemeteries, man, because they never really got a chance to be themselves.
Oh wow, yeah, so yeah, that's the period on that point. Dang,
Nice.
morbid, man. Yeah, but I got you. So it's just, I was just curious like that. So, I mean, you know, what production tip we want to go on, bring the guest, or you want to talk about the book?
So I want to take a moment and just highlight the book real quick. Then we bring our guest on.
Okay.
Right? Matter of fact, let's do it in reverse. Let's bring the guest on, and then we can slide into the book, because I'm gonna ask him some questions relatable, right? So let's do that.
All right. Well, let's bring them in. You I guess you got them.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We want to introduce our guest of honor here today. You'll probably be seeing more of his face and hearing more of his sounds, down the road as we continuously develop our relationships and our ecosystems. But I want to introduce Todd C. Valentine, owner, creator, co-founder, right? Co-founder. Okay, co-founder of VBG Creative, right? And then I want you, as you introduce yourself, tell us what the acronym for VBG is.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I like the soundtrack too. That's perfect. We got to include one of those. I think the last time I talked to you, Mr. Kory, was like 2021. I had just gotten married, or 2022. I had just gotten married. I was still I was 2 years in business, still trying to figure out what this is going to be and how we were going to figure it out. I wouldn't say we've figured it out, but we've gotten a couple of answers correct since then. And so that's been exciting. So the last time I talked to you, it was Valentine Marketing and Media. And then recently, I think in the last 3 years, we brought 2 partners on. So the B stands for my co-founder and CTO, Wells Blanchard. That guy is extreme talent. He's a guy who, when you think about marketing, there's often that technical aspect that is missed because everybody wants things to just be pretty. He makes sure the technical infrastructure is in place. So he's been an absolute godsend. And then he has a cousin. He has 2 cousins, actually. One is a 23-year-old creative that's been, doing photography, videography, graphic design since he was 15 years old. And he's super, super talented. He's young though, and we always say that he's young. So we've been excited to bring him on. He's developed some projects, some video projects. He's taken a creative lead on a lot of projects for us. And then we're in the process of bringing on Bernice Gregoire, who is an established influencer in Miami. She's a social strategist. She really understands marketing on a deep level to where just building out those social campaigns. Some of the work that she's done for the mayor of Miami Gardens and just other she's actually working with, I don't know if I can say this, I think she's working with FIFA this weekend as a just doing some partnerships with them. So our team's expanding and building. So really excited for you guys to have me on today.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on, and you obviously know Mr. James Heyward here as well. One thing we did meet a few years ago, and one thing I will say is that you've always hung in there to the drive and your focus, right? And there was no shortage of you reaching out whenever you had a question. So I commend you for getting a now you got a flag. You're a flag pole now instead of a flag, right? And you're developing your team and your purpose and your vision. So congratulations on that aspect.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I feel like I'm an underachiever. So I'm like, dang, all right, you got people doing like that. So I mean, dog, that's awesome. Wow, that's cool. It just changed my whole questioning pattern now. I'll let you start. You start.
All right, cool. So Ty, look, this is what we like to do. We're gonna get into you a little bit more, but this is what we like to do, on our shows is introduce some books, right? We do a book thing. And so this week we want to talk about the book of Seeing Around Corners, right? So this is real high level stuff. So, just hanging. You got any questions, let us know. I'm just going to talk about some books and then we just jelly bean around with some information, right? So Seeing Around Corners, it's a pretty good book. I actually like it. It's more of a strategic thinking aspect, right? And so what it relates to is inflection points in a business, right? And so the author utilizes a mental image or story of being on a roller coaster. You're sitting in the second seat of the roller coaster, right? You can't get off the roller coaster at this point. You got to ride this roller coaster, right? And so it gives a couple of other touch points deep in the book, which I won't go into, but a reference as a business. So do you sit in the front? Do you sit in the back? Do you sit in the middle? The front is more risque. The back is tantalizing or emotion striking, and the middle is more of a calm aspect, right? And then it says, if you have a team of people as a leader or the owner or the driver of the team, right? Do you have people sit together so you guys can be on this ride, right? So it's all about being informative to these inflection points. So the 4 points of inflection are hype, dismissive, emergent, and maturity, right? And so the example is that they gave on that. I'll let you. Anybody got any questions on that before I go into the examples?
No, you're doing a good job.
Okay. The example that they gave was, hold on, let me get to my notes here. I took some notes. So the example they gave was TV, was TV, social media, and regular media, right? So they're saying audiences reviewed public information through the circulation of TV, right? That's the hype inflection point, right? Now that narrative has changed today, right, with social media platforms, right, such as Facebook, YouTube, you know what that means, right? So now that's altered the assumption on how you gain information. So that's so what happens is TV becomes a dismissive inflection point, right? Okay. Because now we have other forms of media coming in, right? And then now you can do more significant marketing by tying all of these pieces together, right? Social media, YouTube, the Facebooks, creating groups, podcasts, etc. So now it becomes an emergent flexion point, right? And so now it becomes, all of these platforms become of a competitive nature. And as they become a competitive nature, there's a maturity inflection point. So now that you have these platforms, you continuously grow it, right? But they use that as an example. So the 4 inflection points are to represent anything that you've gone through, you will go through, or you went through in business. Is there a point where you identified some sort of shift in your business, right? That you went through, you see it coming, or you've already gone through it, right? And so it's helping to identify or strategically put plans in place to combat that, because it's not that it's not going to happen. It's how do you handle it and how do you get through it? And that's what seeing around the corners represents.
Oh, I get it.
Right?
I didn't do the homework, so that's why I'm listening. So,
right.
But I get it. I get. I totally understand. That's something I do. So eventually, it becomes second nature.
Correct.
When you get enough experience, it becomes second nature.
Correct. Because they're saying you're in business. It's like, again, you're in business. You're on the roller coaster. The roller coaster is taking off, right? It is not gonna stop to let you off.
No.
It's not gonna stop to let you off, right? So buckle up, enjoy the ride, embrace the ride, or be scared of the ride and make sure you got some hold on and make sure you got some tissues in your pocket to wipe your tears, right? As you go through it, right? So some questions that has been kind of put together is, can you recall a moment when your business hit a major shift, and then what triggered that, right? These are just questions and constant homework assignments as you go through business, right? What was it, something that you saw coming, or did it take you by surprise? Because these things do happen, right? And then how did you initially respond, and what would you do differently now versus what you did then? So those are like 3 core questions to help you build your strategic plan and your thought process. Right? So anybody have any answers to that, or any stories based off of that they want to share?
This is extremely relevant, and I feel like I'm thinking, like, did Wells email you and tell you to ask this question? My business partner, because this is like, this is something I'd say this year has been just a real, not necessarily a pain point, but a growing pain for us is realizing that in order for us to increase our operational capacity, so our ability to take on projects, our ability to like go above and beyond, one of our core values is excellence. And so we want to do projects with and like, hey, this is an excellent mindset. We went above and beyond. This is our best work and some. And so in order for us to do that, we've had to develop kind of these SOPs, these standard operating procedures where, hey, every project, every video project should look the same, the process that we do to build this out. Now, when I was a freelancer I mean, honestly, that's what I was when you first met me. It was just me. I was taking on projects here and there, social media accounts, or hey, run this little campaign for me. That was what I did. I didn't really have time to, sit down and develop SOPs. I should have, but instead it was like, hey, I gotta generate revenue. I don't have time to figure out, hey, here's my process for this. We'll figure that out when I get a little free time. And then now, hey, there's more moving pieces. There's more moving parts. The new norm for us as a team is got to be, hey, we've got to develop these processes and systems that make this so much easier for us. And I feel like that was a point for our team where it was a little bit of tension for a minute, where, hey, we've got to stop. We've got to develop this. And what it has is it's definitely helped us to produce better products, better services, and I will say, it's kind of moved us from that is moving us to that maturity. Now I think we're still developing SOPs. We're still testing them, what works, what doesn't work. But I think that for us is where I knew the business has to change. Something has to change. I can't do this the way we've done it before. We got too many people on board. We've got a better quality of client now as well. So we can't just do that. I can't just run like a freelancer.
No,
Yeah.
well, that's great information, man, because that's one of the that's a lot of the topics that we talk about, James and I talk about on this episode. It's a lot of the process that we do with our biz therapy components and even our BYOB clients as well. BYOB is be your own bookkeeper. Be your own bookkeeper. We teach you how to be your own bookkeeper, right? And biz therapy is a place for business development and organization within a company, because people like yourself and us that wear all of the hats, we get to certain transitional points, and then we don't know, or we don't have the resources or the comfortability or the know-how to engage and develop team structure and support around us, right? So that's a good framework of an example of how you actually have taken your freelance experience and has expanded that with the expansion of your team, and then writing down your procedures. You understand what I'm saying? So that even goes into like a question on how do you stay ahead of the changes in your industry, right? Well, what are some of the things that you got to look for that you might overlook? And you answered a lot of those questions already. Now it's a matter of consistently fulfilling those and going to the different levels to improve the business and the excellence of the business and the delivery of your services along the way.
Yeah. That's pretty. I mean, just to piggyback on that, um, that story sounds completely familiar, 100% familiar, because it's exactly the same. So I think to add to the seeing around corner inflection point, because of the amount of experience I've had now, that you start seeing the scenarios over and over, and you start seeing the customer over and over. Not the same customer. You start having archetypes. Then you start understanding. So in our business, there's times that a client or a taxpayer or somebody will say something, or they'll do something like that, and I'll know what they meant. So Nicole trips all the time, because I'll be like, they may have emailed this, but they meant that. And she's like, how you know that? I'm like, trust me. That's what they're saying. And that's just experience. There's no thing, but you can start seeing around corners. If a client, if they're about to move somewhere else, I see it coming. Like, I already know. And they trip out, because I'm always like, yeah, they were going. And so it comes from that, being a solo practitioner, where you're frontline and you do everything. And then if you grow enough to allow other people to come in, you impart your knowledge into them, and then you can start, you use, it's like a chessboard. You start seeing it. You start saying, oh, yeah, this is it. And what it does is it reduces the amount of the amount of angst and anxiety that business could cause. It's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be something. But when you start being able to see around those corners, like, it's not like you get as blindsided as much.
Right.
You're like, yeah, like that, like all the time. With me, I'm always like really recently, I'm just like, yep, I can see that coming. And then, so because being in the entrepreneur seat, or the business owner, whatever you want to call yourself, you have to get the solutions. It's about solving it. It's really about solving it. That's the thing. So if you get too hung up on the event and what happened, then you get you get paralyzed, actually. So yeah, I'm impressed. Todd C, man. You really official, man. So you calling somebody 20 something young, huh?
Well, I'm 31, so that's why.
Yeah, listen, the dynamics of the world has changed now, right? So there's a lot more young people that are mature in their age, and you guys learn differently, or I'm going to say they learn differently now, even though you still fall in that bracket there, Todd. But
for sure.
you in your 30s, so now you're on your way to creating a little more foundation, right? But
Absolutely.
But another point too that resonated with me in the book too was navigating uncertainty, right? Which is another key component. And you also alluded to that as well when you started talking about SOPs, right? And so one of the things we do with our business clients is talk about having SOPs, or in the accounting world, do you have an accounting policy manual, right? Some form of documentation that lists out a process, but also can be adjusted along the way. And one of the things we do is we do. Let me ask you this: do you give ownership to whoever's in that department or running that project or that section for continuously making sure the SOP is up to date?
Yeah, absolutely. That's and I guess for me as a core value as a leader, I've heard this like many times before, like not to be the smartest person in the room.
Right.
And so for me, when I look across the room, like Al is an expert in creativity, right? He can rattle off like aspects of cameras, new cameras that are coming out all the time. Wells is a technical expert. He is in his like full-time job, he's DevOps, so he's only part-time with us. He knows just systems like the back of his hand. And so I let them lead out, and I'm just gonna listen to them. So in our Monday meetings, it's like, hey, it's your time. Go. What do you have? What updates do you have? Right now, we call it department updates. There's no, it's just us four. But essentially, I do want to have a bigger team one day, and I want them to be leading their team. I don't like, and I listen to them, and then I just want to serve them in that aspect.
Well, you have the right mindset. Why think small? You got to think big, and what you assume the position. So assume that you have these departments. So you're think big. Don't back down the ladder. You know what I mean? Now, when you guys do run up on uncertainty, what it seems like you already have it in place, but I guess we can share this with our viewers, right? When you're faced with uncertainty, what processes do you have and that you instill within the organization to make decisions? Like, is there a process that you have to make uncertain decisions? And what, kind of, don't give away the recipe, but share something.
Yeah, I think right now, just uncertain decisions just mean we need to communicate more. And we've got to spend some time on the virtual office, because these guys, they live in Tampa, in the Tampa area. So it's like, hey, we gotta talk. We gotta talk this out. We gotta get on the phone, talk this through. I think earlier this week, I had my whole Monday planned out. I like to plan my 2 days out in advance, and like I spent the first 2 hours of my morning talking to Wells about just making sure we had ultimate clarity on a situation. And I learned that from being married for almost 4 years. And so like, hey, you just got to talk this out until we get clarity. It's much easier it's much easier in business than it is in marriage, because there's a lot more personality, there's a lot more relationship involved. But sometimes I don't know, I can't tell. But yeah, that's one thing, we got to talk it out.
It's the same principle. So I think, see, again, here you go, invoking principalities and understanding that. So you're right. It's communication and clarity. So well, let me ask you this: what else? What was your most successful calculated risk? And obviously we know marrying your wife was one of them, but what's the other one, business wise?
Oh man, yeah, I would say it is bringing on both. Right now, bringing on Wells and Al at different points, and when we brought them in, Wells was a little bit more of a sure bet, right? Like him and I, we've been friends for almost a decade. I know at the end of the day, like, if there is an issue, we're gonna work things out. I'm gonna have to drive down there, and we'll work it out. But with Al, he's younger, right? So there was this like aspect of, is he ready for this? But every project he's worked on has yielded just so much, like, man, you can tell the talent, you can tell the client satisfaction, especially on the video side. He's upgraded enhanced our entire creative. So now I'm not the best graphic designer in the room. I don't have to do those things. I can focus on other aspects of the business. And now that's still something I feel is it's still a risk. It's still a calculated risk, because you know what happens with young talent is you gotta, like, I gotta be on my game, my A game, and lead appropriately. But I think right there he's yielding the results for sure, and we've got some projects coming down the road that I'm really excited about. Right, like now we got the I'm a huge NBA basketball fan. I'm a Laker fan, so I'm always thinking like, hey, nah, man. I mean, we're champion. We're winning a championship next year. But like says every Laker fan every year.
Yeah, I know. So, it's like a Cowboy fan.
Yeah. But now I'm like, hey, we got the right team. We can go win now.
Yeah.
I feel that way. Like with the team. Like, so now we have the right team.
Yeah.
We're now we can win a championship. Now we can win. So like, what awards are we going to put ourselves up for? What projects are we going to do that are going to be award worthy? And now I feel like we got that in place. All I have to do is just make sure I allow talent the runway to go be talent.
Okay. Well, I got some. First, I want to bring in, you got some comments, people welcoming some of our fans, our viewers have wanted to welcome you in and all that. And you have really you've taken all the words out of my mouth for today, pretty much. I mean, you guys really could just carry this on without me, because he talks like me. so I'm like,
that's a compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I'm like sitting there like, man, at 31, I wasn't that smart. Like, right. Yeah. First of all, I had only been married 2 years
on the time machine.
Yeah, it was like, I was only married for 2 years at that point at 31. No, like a year and a half. Okay. I was on something else anyway. So, but I want to, take a step back for everybody, like, what's your background? I guess your educational background. I have two questions. That, and what, I guess, did you always know you would make something bigger, or was there something that made you decide that, hey, I'm not going to be a freelancer anymore, I'm going to start building a business?
Yeah. So I actually I started out college at NC State. So was there for a little bit. It's actually, I'll try to make it as short as possible, but I coming out of high school, I was like, I want to coach basketball. That was my thing. So I started at NC State, and then I ended up making a connection with the basketball coach at Wake Tech, and I became a student assistant over there. I was coaching basketball. I kind of got too far into it to where I was like, let me take a break from school, because this is what I want to do. Yeah. And like, that was like, that's bad theology all the way around. Yeah. So then I started, ended up kind of jumping back in. I was working for a church on campus. And then I jumped back into school, and then I got an internship with McKinsey Ryan, which is a recruiting firm that used to be downtown Raleigh. I feel like that was grad school, because I was the intern to the vice president of sales and marketing, and like I would work with these, like, strategically with these different departments, and it really did feel like grad school. I was working with an older guy named Tim Reed, who could close anyone. I mean, his sales skills were amazing. I worked with another guy named Eric Swain, who he was so personable. Like, I learned so much from him just in working the phones and building those relationships and business development. There's another guy named Cam Lowry, who like really taught me the analytics, like really working through like processes. And I pulled it all together working for these guys. Ryan Gagno, he was the vice president, like just kind of pulling these things together, working from them, learning. I have a notebook that I just wrote down every day that I worked there. And I ended up working there for about a year and a half. There was a point in that business, because I really felt I said I can work at McKinsey Ryan for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was this one day where, they preached family, and then they had a huge layoff. And I think I wrote it in my journal that day, like, all right, I got to work for myself. You can never trust to work from somebody. Like, that's the only way I'll know I won't have to I won't be laid off.
Yeah.
And I could still be fired by every client, but at this, we'll find out. So we definitely, I worked for them, and then kind of COVID hit. There was only 2 interns asked to stay on, myself and another, and then that kind of dwindled over, 5 or so months. And I was like, hey, no better time than now to just kind of start my own and figure out, hey, this is what I want to do. And so I think it was November of 2020 that I officially jumped in and started building the business. So what was the second question?
Oh, the second question was, when you started, this is perfect.
Okay.
When you started the business, did you go in expecting to grow it, or did you just say, yo, I'm hustling, I'll make it? And if not, like, what was the catalyst to make you say, you know what, I'm gonna build the team, I'm gonna build it.
Your mic went a little dark on us right there.
Who, me?
Yeah, you're back now, but it went a little dark almost.
Yeah, so I was saying that if you did not, it was probably my voice, not even the mic. I'm on that Don Corleone right now. So that's it. So no, I was saying, if you did not start the business intending to grow it bigger, was there a flashpoint that said, you know what, I'm gonna make a team, I'm gonna grow an enterprise, I'm gonna grow a business? That's what I was trying to say. So
I think subconsciously I did, because I always referred to the business as we, like, hey, this is I, or like, and plurality is if there's multiple of us, but it was just me for the longest. And I mean, honestly, I was dating my wife at the time in 2020, and it was funny enough, 2021 is when I really, it was just that's all I was focusing on was the business. I proposed to her in January, and so that whole year I'm trying to find that first client. I ended up February, and it was very little money. And so that was, I remember the day we got married was December 11th, 2021. I think we had $1,000 in the bank, couple hundred in cash from the wedding, and one client, and she was still in vet school at the time. So it was like, all right, we'll figure this out. And we did. She was, and she still is, super influential to what we do. She's kind of our external communicating project manager right now. In between the days she doesn't work, so Priya's been amazing for us. But I think I subconsciously knew I wanted to build a business with multiple working parts and working members. And then along the way, Wells has been with me since we started. Like, there's just different projects come our way. I didn't have the ability to take on video projects at the time, but I didn't want to let that go to waste. So it's like, hey, I got a guy I can bring in. So it's always like, I got my buddy Wells. Until it turned into, hey, Wells, why don't you just come on? I think he actually initiated that. So I think I've always had subconsciously, I want to be a bigger business. And now it's for us, it's like, hey, let's make this where the family is a part of this.
So that's it. Well, it makes sense because you wanted to be a coach, so you're a team builder. So that's what that is there. And so, well, give us the uninformed. Tell us about the company. What do you do? Who's your client? What pretend we know nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So we're a digital marketing creative agency. Right now we have about 6 clients where we're handling either we're acting as a digital outsourced marketing team. So instead of like, hey, I'm growing as a business, instead of me like spending that time focusing on marketing, because there's so much, right, with marketing these days. I think AI has kind of changed a lot, and it's increased the volume in which people are putting out content. And it doesn't mean that's all quality content. So one thing that we kind of ground ourselves in is being strategists first. I know there's a lot of trends that you can chase out there, you can go after, but we want to ground ourselves in strategy, like good strategy. So most of our clients, when they come to us, they're like, hey, we've underutilized aspects of marketing, whether that be email marketing, whether that be social media. They really haven't had a great brand presence. So they don't have quality video, quality photography. And we come in and act as that digital outsourced marketing team. And so that's been a real, like, right now we have mostly have 3 nonprofit clients that they're a joy to work with. We love them. We have a veterinarian who is a client of ours, obviously my wife, a lawyer, and then we've got kind of some our video projects that we have. They aren't like long-term clients of ours. They're just, hey, could you come in? Could you produce this high-quality video for us? That's a brand asset. We have we've actually done some work with Delaware State University. A graphic design project for them for a campaign. And so those have been some really exciting just this year, actually, where kind of being able to produce like high level quality content that I think converts, which is most important, right? Like, how do we build something that cuts through the noise that AI is producing? Like I don't think AI is keeping us up at all, like whether it's going to take our job, but instead it's kind of giving us a lane that, hey, how do we help people know what's the right thing to produce? What's the right piece of content to produce? What is the right strategy, rather than just, hey, I'm putting quality out. I'm putting quantity out.
Content out. Yeah. So okay. This is great. This is awesome, man. Like, so
messed up, man. Just so you know, the rest of his afternoon is gonna be something else.
Yeah, I'm gonna be marketing. I'm gonna be you know, you done.
He like to blow my. I'm putting my phone on the charger already because I'm
Nah, I'm gonna go dark. That's what you see when I go dark. That's when you like, okay, yeah, it's on now. But it's just, you know, it's invigorating just listening. So I'm like, yeah, what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask is, for viewers, you know, many of the businesses we deal with or potential clients we have, they don't have any marketing chops at all. They're not doing anything. You know, they put up their Facebook page, or they put up their, you know, their social media page. They have no clue what to do. They just don't know. Now, I know you still in grind mode. You still hustle. Like, who is, or better yet, who isn't your client? Who shouldn't get there? And then, like, I'm trying not to put you out there, but it's like, what can someone expect to spend on a service such as yours? And I know it depends, but I'm just saying to give people an idea, because people don't realize what happens is the marketing, especially social media, is similar to taxes for us. Everybody could do their own stuff, but that don't mean they know what they're doing. So, you know, I'm just trying to put there kind of a highlight to you, like to say, look, here's a guy that they're doing it 24/7. It's not, you know, oh, after I finish cooking dinner, I'm gonna start making some social posts and put them out there. They're doing it. So what is, you know, like, how do you, you know, I'm not trying to get your secrets because I don't want you to pin yourself to no dollar amount. But what I'm saying is like, what someone can expect, like a law firm, small law firm, one solo person law firm, you know, like what would you do for them, and like what would they, you know, however you could share what it would, like, you know, what's the investment for them?
Well, so I think the SBA put out this number a couple years ago that marketing should be 5 to 7% of your revenue. And so I typically kind of stick around those numbers, right? But then I also one I think my team finds this kind of cheesy, but I love saying this. Like, we sell our clients' time back to them. And so, hey, if you like, how much is your time worth, right? Like, how much is it worth? Like, I know I can speak for myself. I know how much more valuable I am to my team and my, like, our operational capacity if I'm not building social media posts, if I'm not doing the tedious task of making sure, like, like I'm doing social listening, or I'm building out like marketing across, like, so right now I'm really excited about Gurnice. She's our CMO who's coming on, because I won't have to focus on our internal marketing as much, because she's an expert in that. And so she's going to take that time off my plate. I know for me, I've had the last month or so has been really busy, and I've eaten a lot of my meals at my desk. I know it is much more valuable for me to get off of, like, be done working by the time my wife is finished working, so we can eat dinner at the table, and we can relax and unwind. As far as dollar amount, it does differ. I think our 3 target audiences are nonprofits, because I think we have a ton of experience. We kind of know the rhythm and flow. Over the last, like, 3 years, our nonprofit clients have raised about $2 million in grants, and that's directly, like, related to building up their brand identity, building up their presence online. It makes it a whole lot easier for them to receive those grants. And so for us, as nonprofits, startups, we've worked with a couple of startups pre-launch that can't really talk about as much, but I wish they had a launch. I wish they had got to where they were supposed to. But we would look forward to working with startups, kind of being in that those series funding rounds, to be able to bolster their marketing efforts, and then also small businesses, right? I think that's the core of what we want to do. The mom and pop who, hey, we're growing, we're scaling. We know we need to kind of build that customer base, that relationship amongst our customer base. I think if we were to work with we don't want to build out our strategies. Like, we don't want them to be like one size fit all. So we do kind of tailor and fit that specifically. One aspect is podcasting. So we're kind of getting into podcasting ourselves. We have a couple clients that, hey, how do you cut through the noise of AI? You build trust by making your voice heard. I think what you guys are doing here is great. This is awesome. And so
thank you.
For our costs, we're not super expensive. I'd say we do fit that 5 to 7%.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's a good answer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we fit within that, and then also with that 5 to 7% to be able to pay us. But then I would say if you were hiring a in-source like an in-house person,
you're gonna pay more than that.
We'd be cheaper than what you pay for an in-house person.
Significantly cheaper.
Right. And we come with the camera, the camera rig, the setup. We come with we have all the whether it's Adobe, all those the different platforms and apps that you would particularly purchase. So that's good. But I mean, it's something that comes up, and I think with our focus being a lot of small business owners, people that are trying to build and scale businesses, I mean, we have a hard enough time explaining what they should spend on their accounting stuff, because they underspend on that. But then they're spending less than that on marketing. And then, for many people, they feel like marketing is, putting one post up and, it didn't work. Just one post, and they don't, we're so enamored with social media being free per se. The platforms are free, and even now they aren't free, they really want you to put money into them, because that's how they make money, through advertisement. Right. They want you to spend money. Well, people are still stuck on free, and they just neglect
that the marketing aspect, that the marketing, and it's not going to work in one. You're not going to do one campaign and then the doors are just going to fly. People are just going to run through the doors, So with the number of touches it takes for people to even pay attention now. Back in my early days of marketing, and in the golden days, the olden days, when I was promoting records, I mean, it was like, someone to hear it 6 times, for them to even point the catch. Now, I mean, you probably had to hit somebody with a message 10, 12, 15 times because they're getting so many messages. So it's impossible for them. So if you're doing it one time, you're doing it none because they people that, so to get your evangelist, you have to be like, oh, over and over and over and over, so I try to put it out there and say, hey man, this is somebody, if you're watching, you might want to call this young man. He can help you get somebody, get you some business.
Absolutely.
We preach holistic marketing too. So like when you have that social component, if you have 1,000 followers, you think if I make a post, I'm going to have at least 700-800 likes. But to be honest, that doesn't benefit the business structure of social media, that to give you access to all your followers, for your followers to see all of your posts. So they only give you access to about 20 or 30%, if that, and then they tell you, hey, this is a really good post, would you like to boost it to go out more? So that's why we always say, hey, you got to have not only social, but you got to connect that to email, right? Do you have a good email marketing strategy? Do you have a website that you're leading to people to? And then in the process of that, then you can start to run ads to kind of retarget, and so that's where we really preach the holistic marketing, so that we have the like you're kind of pulling it all together. You're not just dependent on one particular channel.
Oh, you're speaking my language right now, because the thing to consider. So if we look at the undercurrent of the ocean, right? You're talking about the waves on the top. The undercurrent is structure, organization. And so we talk about CRM, right? Having a place for your people, the psychographics of who your target market is, and down to the small essential things like anniversaries, birthdays, campaigns, a specific industry in a time zone, right? Like we're coming up on Juneteenth. What businesses represent Juneteenth? What advertising, what sales, what discounts, what are the messages that come to that? And having a CRM will allow you to control your intellectual property, because these platforms, what a lot of people don't understand is the algorithm. Like you said, they control the algorithm, right? They're free, but they control what audiences hear and see your communication, and that's why you have the paid for advertising and retargeting ads and things of that nature, right? Down to your website. So having a website in place, but most importantly, being comfortable with being uncomfortable is the key. Continuous improvement. So one of the key points that you said earlier, Todd, was you realize that in order for your organization to grow, you can't wear all of the hats. And that's something that everybody struggles with, right? Because it's an uncomfortable feeling, number one. Number two, we'd rather spend money on material things that doesn't make our progression better to make ourselves feel some sort of gratification, instead of the long-term aspect of developing that, right? And so again, your message is resonating with a lot of the principles and the systems that James and I have in place via the firm, BYOB, and Biz Therapy. Is that undercurrent is what we try to get them to know. You have to notice the undercurrent is there. And how do you place your feet so you don't get swept by the undercurrent is important. And it seemed like you're continuously driving that. You've experienced that, and you have a good nucleus around you, team around you to help you combat that undercurrent, right? Because you can handle the waves. You know, you dive into the waves. You don't dive away from the waves, right? Which is the message that you're putting forth, right? Now, I guess in the wrap up, if James has no more questions or you don't have any more comments, it's something to think about. You know, what advice would you give business owners, right? And I'm talking about like digging deep, a simple, you know, something that they can actually walk away from. I call it moving the needle. I'm a move the needle guy. If we can move the needle an inch and we don't have to go back to that needle, that's a great start. So what advice, what information would you impart not only to startups, young people, new of age people that's starting up, because you know our economic straits right now, but also to even people that's been in business that are stuck, because there's people in business now that are completely stuck. So what would you give them? What would you inspire them or motivate them with, and give them something practical that they could take away from?
Yeah, I actually I wrote this down on my platform a couple weeks ago, and I felt like I was cosplaying a CEO and not actually being one, and I had to hey, slow down and think about all the different aspects of your business. I mean, maybe take a day to do this, kind of evaluate all the different aspects of your business and figure out what systems can be built, what areas can be automated, what areas can actually be outsourced, and save yourself time. Because I think as business owners, we got in business for a particular reason, and there's an aspect of it that is a passion. Like, not all of it is going to be fun, right? Some weeks it's just not fun at all, and it's just I'm doing the dirty work, but the stuff that I love doing, I want to keep doing that. And I'm right now, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So, but in order to do that, I've got to build proper systems. I've got to build the right, there's so many tools out there now that allow you to automate, and then also outsource and delegate. So I'd say those three would be the biggest for me. So to outsource, to delegate, and to actually build systems. I mean, just this week, I gave up project management to somebody on my team. That felt it feels a little weird, but it cleared my schedule this week. That somebody else was doing that. And so, you know, just delegating, and then now realizing, hey, well, here's something I was doing on a regular basis. I can build a system for that. I can like, this can be automated. This doesn't have to, I don't have to spend 2 hours a week racking my brain on this. Right. So I can get to doing what I really love. And I mean, at my core, I'm a brand strategist. So I'm working through each week. Hey, here's the strategy. I want to build out some, even within that, there's systems to build to make that process easier, so that I'm only really spending the time doing the things I love to do. And that's the ultimate goal. And that, so that we're getting paid.
Nice. Oh, hold on, let me hit him.
Oh yeah, hit him with that. You come in that way, you go out that way.
You give you no roses, brother. Right?
Yeah. Much appreciated. I like the soundtrack. Yeah, we got to get one of this for our podcast. I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's how we do.
So here you go. You want to reach out to Todd? It's flashing across the screen here, everybody. Look, Todd C. Valentine. Hold on, let me do something a little different here.
Yeah, you gonna put it up there?
Yeah, you see it? It's flashing through. It's shining through the screen.
See, hold
on, let me do something a little different here, Todd. Let me get you right.
Oh, and for the chat, they wanted to know what he said cosplay, not cosplaying. So
yeah,
cosplay. He was. Yeah, that might mean, I don't know if you know what they know what cosplay is, but it's costume play. You were playing the role of CEO. That's what you were doing.
I mean, it's really cool to put the CEO title behind everything and say, yeah, I'm a CEO, but like to do the actual work on a day-to-day is it's pretty tough. But it's rewarding. So
Yeah.
Oh man, that's another touch point right there.
Wait. I was just gonna say, what you mean? The people that are CEO and it's just them?
yeah.
Those people that was like, yeah, I'm the CEO. Okay.
And they wear it loud and proud. I'm the CEO, and yeah, that's
you like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, to be a chief, you have to have people behind you. So, that's all I'm saying.
Man, now this has been good. This has been good. Ty, man, thank you for showing up. Think we got you locked in now. Now you can't go anywhere. We branded you to our ecosystem. We'll talk offline a little bit more. You know, once we end this live, you don't have to hop right off. You can give us another 30 seconds of your time if you can. But we want to invite your team back too, right? Get the team on and have everybody come on, and we just chop it up and have some fun and experience who your people are, and we make it a team event, you know. So,
absolutely.
But
much appreciated.
Definitely want to thank everybody for either if you're watching and you joined and you gave us questions. Remember, submit your questions to us, you know, so we can answer those questions. Thank you for taking notes on our good book Saturday as well. You can reach us at Heyward CPA, all channels, all things, and you can also reach us at Biz Therapy, biztherapycoaching.com. And all our platforms at Biz Therapy Coaching. Reach out. If you need some help, you need some assistance, you got some questions, our initial consultations are of no cost. Let me put that out there with an underline and italicize it. They are no cost. So reach out, get some information, get some clarity so you can focus on your direction and your goals. Now you go back from there.
All right. Well, yeah, before we go, I got one more announcement. Something new, something different, something going on. It's kind of ironic with what we talked about today. But listen, jumping back in the DJ realm, yo. So look, I need y'all to go follow. If you on this tiki-taki thing, go follow J.Heyward. So we getting ready to do these weekly streams. DJing, man. This is DJ. This is the other part of my life. So that's that, you know, I'm bringing it back out. I got some things popping right here.
Yeah.
So, you know, just that's that at J.Heyward is what the handle is. That's my handle on IG.
But it's JDOT.
Yeah, J dot. Yeah, JDOT.
Yeah, not dot as the symbol, but
yes,
DOT.
Yep. So I'm working. I just started this page, so I'm working to get to the 50 followers so I can stream live. Once I start streaming live, it's not going to be a problem. So I just wanted to put that on there because you got to cross promote. There's no need to not have something on all platforms, and then follow me there. So that's the lead. But yeah, we'll get into all that. Look for some content coming off of that too. So that's that. But hey, with that being said, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. You know,
we always hit them with the peace out sign.
Peace out, yo, peace, dog, yo, peace to the gods and earth, and all that, and we out.